you cannot allow other people to hold the pen to your life, to have that pen and start writing out, to start writing who you should be, what you should do, what you should wear, you know, who you're going to become. Take that pen out of their hand. Take that pen out of their hand. You say that I can't be this, that's your problem. You say that I won't succeed, that is your problem. You say that I won't become this, that is your problem. Take that pen out of their hand and tell them, I am the only author to my life. Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Babel, and this is a platform where I literally talk about taking the platform from everybody else and putting it back on yourself. So I wanted to start off on a topic that is really dear to my heart and something that I struggled with for such a long time. And when I mean a long time, I feel as if I lived in this prison my whole life, and that is caring about what people think of you. And the only reason why I think that this is so dear to my heart is because that I was one of those individuals that literally cared about what people thought about me. It affected every aspect of my life, from my career, my friendship group, who I dated, who I liked, progression in life, because at the back of my mind, whenever I wanted to do something new or I wanted to try something, I always, instead of actually asking myself, do I like what I want to do? Do I like this? The first thing I thought was, oh my gosh, what are they going to think of me? It's crazy. And I know that I'm probably not the only person who has thought of this. And I know that there's other people that's probably living in the same prison or who has lived in that same prison and wanting to find a way to get out. Now, why this is so important and why is one of the things in which we definitely have to tackle and overcome is because, just like I said in the beginning, it will affect absolutely everything you do in life. It will affect how you show up, how you appear. It will affect how you think of yourself, what you accomplish, how much money you make, who you date, if you're not careful, because in the back of your mind, instead of you actually going forward with whatever goals, whatever desires, whatever ambitions that you may have, you're always going to result back to thinking, gosh, I'm not going to try that because they might think this of me, they might think X of me, Y of me. And before you even know it, your life will look completely different just because you didn't try, because of you thought, what would other people think of me? And so it dictates every single aspect of your life. It will determine how you show up. So are you going to try that new career? Are you going to try that new venture? Are you going to try a new hobby? Are you going to try out learning a new instrument? Are you going to show up on like on social media? Are you going to post pictures, videos? Are you going to be authentic? Are you going to be your silly self or your loud self or your goofy self? Are you actually going to live out the true essence of who you are? Maybe not, because you're at the back of your mind, you're always going to have that inner critic that tells you that you can't do it, or nobody cares, or you're not going to make it. And it's all going to be stem of what you think that people are thinking of you, but actually it might not be the case. So 3 things in which really helped me to tackle not caring what other people think of me. Number 1, do people really care about what you're doing? And it's one of those things where whenever you want to go and try out something new, maybe you're like me, you thought to yourself, oh my gosh, I wonder what they will think of me if I started showing up on social media. I wonder if I started my own business, or if I dated this person, started doing live talks, whatever the circumstances. Have you ever thought to yourself, you know, what are they going to think? And one thing I've come to realize is that no one's actually caring about you. Nobody actually cares about what you do. And I don't mean that nobody cares about what you do because you're not important, or whatever you're doing is not something great, it isn't great or amazing. It's because that, let's think about it. 2024, there is a cost of living crisis. Was it cost of living crisis? There is a cost of living crisis. People, just like yourself, are trying to make the most of who they are, the most of this time. A lot of people are trying to change career. A lot of people are trying to build their own business. A lot of people are trying to find a sense of purpose and identity during this time. You are not the only person who is thinking, let me try starting my own business or changing careers. There's so many people out here who are suffering in silence or wanting a change in their life because they don't like where they're at in life at the moment. They want to make a change. And so instead of actually thinking about you and what you're wanting to do, they're focused on them. They're trying to figure out, how can I change career? How can I make more money? How can I create an additional stream of income? How can I do XYZ? You know, maybe I'm burnt out at my work and I actually want to start off my passion. I want to do arts. I want to be a filmmaker. If you're somebody that in your childhood, you were trained to think about other people more than thinking about yourself, you were trained to care about what other people thought of you more than how you thought of yourself, or you were trained to keep up with appearances instead of actually being your authentic you or your authentic self, then you're constantly, or most of the time, going to be thinking about what other people think of you instead of actually how you think about yourself. I was one of those kids. That appearances was so important. And so how my aunt thought of me, how my cousins, how my brothers, how my sisters, all of that jazz thought of me was a lot more important. It's because we had to keep all the appearances. I had to show up that I was that I was a polite girl, or I was the person, or I was the little girl that never got into trouble. I dressed well when my aunties saw me outside, or I behaved well, even when, like, my parents you just never know who's looking. You just never know who's watching. You just have to be in your best behavior. You always have to present yourself in a particular way, or talking this way or talking that way. So you were never really yourself because you were always kind of performing or on stage. And so if you are one of those kids that had to kind of live out their childhood like that, you would think that other people are thinking of you, but they're not. They're not thinking of you. And it's one of those hard pills to swallow or to come to grips with, that actually nobody cares what you're doing. Nobody cares if you're going to go and start this new job, or start, your own business, or start a new stream of income. Or even if you change career path, nobody cares if you date that person or if you don't date that person. And this is a little secret. If no one's told you this little secret, let me on this little secret. If people care that much about what you're doing, it just shows that maybe they just don't have much of a life themselves. Because when you're focused on you, everyone has problems. Everybody has something that they want to improve, that they want to get rid of, that they hate, that they're trying to add, that they're trying to change, that they're trying to adjust. And so when you're so focused on what you need to change, the routines in which you need to build, the habits in which you need to create, you are not going to be heavily focused on somebody else, to the point where even when somebody notices things about you, you're going to be like, why are you always watching me? Why are you always watching my every move? Like, I don't do the same for you, because it's because you realize that you are so busy running your own race that you have no time to wonder whether that person has started their race, if they're in the middle of the race, or if they're at the end of their race, because that you have a race, you have your own race. You're trying to put on your trainers, you're trying to speed up, you're slowing down, you're huffing and puffing. That's all you've got time to think about. It's like, if I'm going to, am I surviving? Do you get what I mean? Like, am I surviving? Am I dying here? Like, I want to thrive. And you need to realize that nobody actually cares. But when you're kind of insecure about yourself, or insecure about what you want to start, and there's nothing wrong with insecurities, because we all have them. We all have a level of insecurity, because insecurity is something that you're not sure of. And every single day, there's something that comes into our lives that we are not sure of. So we're always going to have a level of insecurity. But the thing is that other people are trying to make it. Other people are trying to get by. Other people are trying to win at this life. Other people are trying to thrive as well. And so, to be honest, when you start thinking that you are the spotlight, or you're the character in everyone's story, you need to understand that actually you are not a character in everyone's story. You are not even, what can I say? You're not even an extra. You're not a character in someone's story. You're not even an extra. You're not even in the script. They haven't written you in, because they're solely focused on what they need to do and how they need to get by. And so that's one area in which, once you realize that actually everybody is trying to write their own script, everybody is trying to be the best character in their own play, that everyone's trying to get by and make the most out of this life, it will take the pressure off yourself to think that actually people are actually watching you or caring about what you are doing, which actually makes things a lot more easier in life, because you realize that, gosh, like, why are you putting so much pressure on yourself? Nobody cares, nobody cares, nobody cares. Number 2, we are not put on this earth to do the same thing. We could look the same, we could be the same skin tone, the same ethnicity, from the same country, speak the same language, and yet we are not here to do the same thing. And even if you guys did do the same thing, so let's just say that you worked in the same career, you worked for the same company, you're both trying to be promoted, you are still not here to do the same thing, because everybody has an essence of themselves that they're supposed to put out on this earth. And I think that sometimes, especially if you're someone who wants to go and start something new, if you're like me and, you know, want somebody's validation or want somebody to agree with you, you're probably going to go to friends and family, and you're going to kind of pitch your idea to, you know, these wonderful people in your life and tell them, you know, you want to start this and you want to start that. And their face might look a bit like, I don't know what you're talking about, that's not really a good idea, or all of that stuff. And then you get deflated. And then you're wondering, gosh, like, maybe my idea isn't so great. Maybe I shouldn't do this or do that, because if this was a good idea, they will be excited. They will be excited as you are. They will respond the same way that you responded. They will believe in the idea as much as you believe in the idea. But what you need to understand is that we have not been put on this earth for the same thing. Coming from a person who is a woman of faith, who is a Christian, I believe that God has put every single one of us on this earth for a purpose. And every single one of our purposes will be different, and they will look different. And so because you have a relationship with God as an individual, what God will tell you to do is not what God will tell somebody else to do. There are times, if you really recall back in your life, that you have not liked every single idea that one of your friends or your family have mentioned to you, but you've just rolled with the punches. You're just like, okay, then cool. But you're probably at the back of your mind, you're probably thinking, I think that idea is a bit dumb. But when you look back on life, how much, you know, they probably succeeded in their venture. They actually have gone way further than you actually believe that they could. They've done better than you actually believe that they could. And you look back and you think, they're doing good. I didn't even believe that they could do this. Why? It's because it was their vision. It was their calling. It was their purpose. And the reason why they had, or the reason why you had a deep passion, why you are so convicted, why you are so adamant to start this, why you have an ache within your soul to do what you want to do, is because that it is your calling. It's the seed that God has put within you, and it is your job to water it. Sometimes when we get an idea, we believe that other people's validation will water it and will allow your idea to grow and blossom. But no one needs, like, your idea, your seed does not need other people's validations, doesn't need other people's excitement, doesn't need anybody's confirmation or conviction to make it a grand idea. The fact that you was given this, the reason why you have so much passion, is because that it's for you and only you. But in a society where we get told that, you know, if you don't have the spotlight, if no one is responding, if nobody agrees with you, then you're a nobody. If you don't have a following, if people are not jumping in the air, believing in you from the start, then it wasn't a great idea. But look how many people looked stupid in the beginning. Nobody believed in Steve Jobs in the beginning. Nobody believed in Amazon in the beginning. Nobody believed in so many actresses and actors in the beginning of their career. It's because that they were a nobody. They were in seed form. They weren't even birthed out. They had this idea that they wanted to become this individual. They wanted to become significant. They wanted to change their life. And other people in their life probably laughed at them too. They're probably thinking, what's Apple? What's Amazon? Who's Kerry Washington? Who's Jim Carrey? They probably just thought, you know what, these people are not going to become anybody. They're going to always be nobodies and no one's going to know their name. But we know their name. We use their products. And I'm not trying to say that just because they became something, or they became a household name, that you're going to become a household name, or I'm going to become a household name. What I am trying to say is that you cannot allow other people's negative reaction, other people's rejection, other people's lack of conviction or lack of belief in you stop you from actually doing what you need to do. Is because that they weren't given that assignment. They were given another assignment that you're not passionate about. They've been given another project that you don't want to be a part of. They have their own path to walk in life, and so do you. And also, I've noticed that when you tell people your ideas and then they tell you that, gosh, you can't do that, what you need to understand is that they're not talking to you. They're talking to themselves. Because people project ideas and beliefs that they think about themselves, and they put it onto other people. And so even though your idea is actually an amazing idea, the fact that they had an idea, or maybe they had a dream that wasn't able to come into fruition, that they weren't able to execute, or they weren't able to do, when you tell them your idea, it doesn't even have to be you, it could be anybody that tells them a dream or an idea or a passion, they're going to shut it down, because all they can remember is that I had a dream, I had a passion, I had a, whatever, and it didn't happen. I wanted to become a singer and I didn't become a singer. I wanted to be an actor and I wasn't able to become an actor. And because you've come along with your dream, and you've come along with your enthusiasm, and you've come along with your passion, you've triggered the fact that they weren't ever able to become what they thought they wanted to become. They were never, and like I said, fought. Because sometimes we are so fixated on how life should be, on what we should be doing, that when it doesn't happen, it ends all of our dreams. So every single dream that comes after the failed dream does not make them happy. And I think that you need to understand that if you are somebody that has a seed, or you are somebody that has an idea, and you go to somebody else and they want to shut it down. And I don't mean every single dream is going to become something, but if you have a dream and you're so adamant to start it. Do not listen to what other people are saying, because people love to project. They love to project their low self-esteem, their lack of belief, their lack of conviction, their lack of victory, their lack of success onto you, because they weren't able to pick themselves back up from the failure and carry on with another dream. They'll prefer for you to join in the club with them and no longer dream, just like they are no longer dreaming. And so that's why you need to remember that your assignment is your assignment. Their assignment is their assignment. Your mission is your mission, and their mission is their mission. And that's just how we have to live life. Because when we get confused that somebody else's advice means more than your own, then you're in trouble. Because you need to understand that, yes, many people, especially elders, they may be so many more years than you, and they may have wisdom from the life that they lived. But you need to understand that it's just advice. Everyone lives in a different time zone, a different sphere. What applies to them does not apply to you. And so you need to understand that you can't allow other people to stop you from living the fullness of who you are. Just because they weren't able to do it doesn't mean that you're not able to do it. And number 3, how do you know that they're rooting for you to fail? I think that sometimes when you're starting something new, we all do this, we automatically go to the negative. We automatically think, you know what, oh my gosh, they're going to laugh at me. They're going to think I'm stupid. They're going to think I'm too much. They're going to think I'm too good. I think too much of myself, or I'm full of myself. We never actually think that, oh my gosh, what about if they've been waiting for me? What about if people actually waiting for me to start this? What about if people they will be excited because I've started this new venture, or I've made this move, or I've made this change? We automatically think that we would not be welcomed. We would not be allowed to start on this journey, that nobody wants us to be great, that nobody wants us to succeed. But at the same time, are these their opinion of you, or are these thoughts opinions of how you think of yourself? And because you can't say to yourself that I think of me in this way, you say is other people's opinions of you. And it's one of those things which I really had to struggle with, because why would I want to admit that I don't think I should succeed? That I don't think I can be great? It was really hard for me to accept that truth, but then I had to come to the realization that maybe it's just my inner critic. When I was younger, my parents were perfectionists. You can scrub the floor 3 times, they will still find a mark on the floor and they'll be like, scrub it again. Nothing was good enough for them. But then context matter. They grew up in Africa. Cleaning was something that was just embedded in them. Cleaning was a sense of pride. The type of house that they lived in, the materials in which they used was completely different from what they use in the Western world. And so for them, nothing was good enough. And so, being an African woman, being a firstborn daughter, I was very much criticized for absolutely everything that I did, because my parents believed that they were trying to install good habits into me. They wanted me to be great, and they believed that if they were too soft on me, then I would become mediocre, or I wouldn't try my best, or I wouldn't give my all, and I wouldn't, do things with excellence. They didn't realize that actually they're going to create a monster within me, and I was going to have this demonic, critical inner dialogue. They did not know that that was what they were creating. What they believed is that they were creating excellence within me. And as I was growing up and there were times in which I wanted to try something new, my default thought was, what are they going to think of me? But there's a saying, and I should go and get the quote, but many people think that other people are thinking negatively about them, but actually it's because they're thinking negatively about themselves. Because what you need to understand is that your self-perception matters in how you're going to show up in the world, of how you're going to, are you going to try things? Are you going to pick yourself after you fail? Are you going to take that risk even though it might not work out in your favor? You can change, routes, and it might not work out. Your self-perception matters in how you're going to live out the life that has been given out to you. And if you believe that you're too old, or you're not pretty enough, or you're not slim enough, or you don't know enough people, that's because that you believe that. It's not because that somebody else believes that. Yes, somebody else might think that of you, but then how do you know? There are times in my life where I have got it completely wrong. I have thought that people were against me. Then when I ask them, what was your first opinion of me when you met me? If you hear what come out of their mouth, they're like, my gosh, I thought that you were so confident. You just walked around the place with your head high. And I'm thinking, who are they talking about? Are they talking about me? Because that my self-perception was not good. I did not have a good self-perception of myself. I did not think of myself as valuable or worthy or good enough. But to somebody else, they saw me completely different. They saw me as a star, class, number one. I'm none of none. What's that saying of Beyonce? I'm none of number one. All of that good stuff. They thought, that I was everything. I just oozed confidence. But that's not how I saw myself. And so many of you guys that wants to maybe make a change in their life or start something, you think that people don't want you to start it. But there are people that's actually waiting. They're waiting for you. They're waiting and they're thinking to themselves, gosh, when is she going to make this change? Oh my gosh, she's so smart. Oh my gosh, she's so intelligent. Oh my gosh, she's a woman of wisdom. I want to go and hear more of her nuggets. They are waiting for you to become. They're waiting for you to birth out something brilliant. They're waiting for you to reveal your secret sauce. They are clapping for you. Clapping? They are clapping for you thinking, rah, this girl is amazing. This woman is amazing. But you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe that you have what it takes to show up and to show out. You do not believe that you have what it takes to make that move, to change career, to change direction, to go this way, that way, all of the ways. You don't believe it. And because you don't believe it, and then you are admitted to yourself that it's actually you that's against you, you tell yourself that other people don't want to see you win, that other people don't want to see you succeed, that other people don't want to see you grow, when people are actually waiting. I understand that it's true. There are many people in your life, close people, friends and family they do not want to see you win. They benefit from you being insecure, you being in the same position, you not growing, you staying in that same job and in that same salary, in that same deadbeat relationship, you not making any changes. They love it because they're there and you guys can stay in the same path together. They love it because they benefit from you staying the same. But believe you me, in the same breath, there are other people who are waiting for you to step out into your greatness. They're waiting for you to start that show, or to teach them about finances, or to become their coach, or to share the wisdom in which you just keep to yourself and you don't share with anybody. People are waiting for you to birth something. We have to change our mindsets and the way that we see ourselves. We have to change the way that we see our value. Maybe because for a long time you were put down and people didn't see your value. You gave so much, and regardless of how much you gave, it was never enough for them. They never saw you. For you, like Jesus, in his home country, he didn't do much miracles. And the reason why he didn't do much miracles is because that nobody saw him as anything special. He was Mary and Joseph's son. He was just a carpenter. That's the boy that we saw when he was younger. Who does he think he is today? And maybe that's the same for you. You are so-and-so son. You're the person that lived in that area. You're the boy from the block. You're the girl from the ends. You're the person that went to this school. You're the person that got that grades. You're the person that used to go and act rowdy when you were younger. And the fact that you have changed, or you are changing, they're looking at you like, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You think you're better than us? Some people will come at you with that energy like, do you think you're better than us? You ain't better than us. But I'm telling you, in the same breath, there are people who are wanting to see you get out of your current circumstance. They want to see you get out of your mess and become something great. People are waiting on the other side for you. They're waiting on the other side for you. And if you just realize, if you just shift your mindset to thinking, what would they think of you? Why don't you say, you know what? I think they're waiting for me, I've got so much wisdom. I want to share that. My gosh, I've been doing so well with my finances. I want to teach people that. I loved acting. I think I'm really good at acting. I want to start off that career. Do you know what? I've got an eye for fashion. I want to start off that line. I'm so creative. I want to start off this balloon business, whatever it is. You're the only one that can you're the only one that can create value within yourself. And yes, again, in a society where people say that, people give you your value, where depending on where you work, people measure you by status. People measure you by how much money you have, your network, your net worth. And who you don't know, is they tell you that this is what gives you value. Okay, so a couple of people, a couple of people in high places. So you have X amount of this in the bank. But that doesn't necessarily give you value. These are possessions. Who are you when these things get taken away and you do not know these people anymore and you don't have that money in the bank? Who are you? Do you still see yourself as valuable? What happens when people are talking about, they're shouting your name today, but then they're cussing you the next day? Who are you then? Are you valuable then? Exactly. If you allow people to give you your value, your worth, your substance, gives you validation, when they turn around and they no longer like you, when you're no longer number one, when you're no longer that, the it girl or the it boy, you're gonna fall. If you're waiting for people to lift you up, these same people that have lifted you up are the same people that can bring you all the way down. But when you understand to value your own, but when you learn to value your own self, nobody can pick you up and nobody can tear you down. Whether you've made a mistake, whether you got things right, you are the only one that's going to be able to determine who you are and your value. What's that saying? That if you stand for everything, you fall for everything. I hope that's right. If not, if you allow people to become your everything, then you will become nothing when everybody around you say something bad about you. Is projection. Have you ever heard someone say that no one liked me? Even these rich people or people that's made it, they were like, well, I had no friends. We all see these rappers or whatever. I had no friends. Everybody thought I was ugly. I couldn't get this girl, couldn't get this, whatever. Da, 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 da. And then when they've got money, everybody finds them attractive. They are now the sweetest thing to look at. They are gorgeous. They are beautiful. They're wonderful. And why? It's because they've got money. Now they've made it. Now they're in the spotlight. Now everybody knows their name. Now they're on billboards. Now they're this and that. But when nobody knew them, they were nothing. Nobody wanted to talk to them. It's because that now they suddenly became something. And what I'm trying to say is that sometimes in this world, nobody wants you until you become something. Nobody wants you until you've proven them right. In the beginning, you told them that, you know, I got this idea and I think it's going to make millions. They look at you like, really, this dreamer. But then in a year, in 2, in 5 years, in 10 years, when you're now suddenly blown up, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, that's the person that I knew. We hanged around together. Like we grew up together. She was my friend. He was my friend. They will lie and they will say that actually they knew you. They didn't know you. So what I've come to realize is that you need to believe in yourself so much that it does not matter what people think of you. You know, even if you start off small and you don't have nothing and something is in seed form, you have to believe that this seed is going to flourish, that this seed is going to end up being such a massive forest because you believe in your own self. You have to believe in what the Lord has given you. You have to believe in this idea or this passion that you have in your heart so much more than you believe in other people's words. And in this, you know, day and age where, you know, like we've got social media talking about this person, talking about that person, newspaper talking about this person and that person, we think that these people dictate the lives of others. You cannot allow other people to hold the pen to your life, to have that pen and start writing out, to start writing who you should be, what you should do, what you should wear, you know, who you're going to become. Take that pen out of their hand. Take that pen out of their hand. You say that I can't be this, that's your problem. You say that I won't succeed, that is your problem. You say that I won't become this, that is your problem. Take that pen out of their hand and tell them, I am the only author to my life. If you have given that pen to somebody else due to just life, because sometimes we hold certain people in positions in our life, especially people who you value and you respect, you start to give them authority because you see them so big. They're so high, you put them on the pedestal and you think, you know what, I respect this individual. This individual has done this, done that. They have helped me in different areas of my life. When I was down, they always picked me up. When I couldn't speak positive about myself, they saw something within me and they spoke it out of me. And so you believe that, you know, whatever they say, it must be it. But if you have given them the pen to your life, if you've made them author to your life, then you need to fire them. You need to be like, I'm sorry, but I'm now the director. I'm now the author. I'm now the script writer. I need that responsibility back. You can sit down because I know what I'm doing now. And I think that when we stop taking advices from other people, we realize that actually what people say and what people think of us actually don't matter because you're valuable. Your opinions matter as much as anybody else's. Do you believe that all wisdom was given to the people around you, but none to you? Do you believe that revelation's only given to other people around you, not to you? Do you think that other people have great ideas and you don't have any great ideas? There's not only one person in your life that has a great idea. We all have great ideas. We all have wisdom. We all have knowledge. We all have the ability to think and to dream and to create. And when you believe in your own power, that actually they might have a different opinion to me, but I've got my own opinion. They might not believe in this, but I believe in this. Then you start to realize that actually their words don't have as much weight as they once did. They won't hold as much weight as you believed that they would. And actually what they think of you won't change the trajectory of your life unless you allow it to, unless you allow their words to shape your future. So I hope that you have taken these 3 points and come to realize that actually you don't have to care what other people think. You really, really do not have to care about what other people think. And what you need to understand is everybody thinks differently based on their own experiences. And so somebody else might have tried what you're trying to do now and it didn't succeed. But they went through different experience. Their mindset is completely different. Their personality is completely different. You are not the same as them. So even though you might be trying something very similar, that's their story, that's their path. And so when people are giving you opinions and they're giving you advice, it's based on them. It's not based on you and where you're at now and the knowledge in which you have, the personality in which you possess, the character in which you have, the people in which you know. They are basing their negativity or their psychic predictions of their future based on something that they've gone through, and it's just not the same for you. So you can't take that, you can't take their words as gold. Take it as face value. Take what you need, because everybody, you can learn something from absolutely everybody. Everybody's got wisdom to share. We need to take people's advice but with a filter. Like, okay, then I need this, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need it. We can't just take everyone's opinion and be like, oh my gosh, yeah, gonna grab onto that. Because maybe 80% of what they said was rubbish and 20% was fact, was true. And maybe 30% was good and then 80% vice versa. When people advise you on things, you have to filter it with the truth of what you know, what you feel, and the conviction that you have within yourself. So I hope that with these points in which I've mentioned, that you will go after absolutely everything that you want to go after this year. It doesn't matter how big, it doesn't matter how small. It doesn't matter whether it's just you want to lose 2 pounds, or you want to change jobs, or you want to downsize, or you don't want to work in this career anymore. Whatever it is, go after everything that you want, because it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It really doesn't. They might not like what you're doing today, but in a couple of years when you're blowing up, people are going to like it. When people might not know why you're trying to save today, but then when you're doing better financially in a couple of years, they're going to be like, why don't you teach me your secrets? Nobody likes change in the beginning. Nobody does. But then when you live out your truth, you can be proud of you. So when you look back on at the end of your life and you know what, I did not allow for people to stop me from doing what I need to do. I did what I needed to do. And that's how you need to go and carry on life. So I hope that you found this helpful, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.